Hey everybody, it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do a brief, and by brief I mean hopefully less than 20-30 minutes of a no communication reading. And that will probably be my last reading for this week because I will be busy for the rest of the week. So yeah, let's just jump in and do this. We're going to do the no communication reading. If you want to book a private reading, all the information on how to do that is in the description box below. Yeah. And thank you for everybody that has liked, commented, subscribed, shared. Thank you for all your birthday wishes. You guys are the best. I'm a Virgo, which probably tells you a lot about my, well, you already knew that if you read this description box, but that's why I straighten the cards all the time. All right, and one more deck to shuffle. I'm using the John Holland Psychic Tarot for the Heart Oracle, or Tarot and Oracle, and the Goddess Oracle by, I think her name is Amy Sophia Marashinsky, and then the Mythic Oracle by Carissa Mulatto. So let's just jump right in. The reason for the lack of communication: giving and receiving, Atlas, responsibility, and Pele, awakening. Ooh, I love this. This is interesting. And by the way, I know I have some listeners that are out on the islands in Hawaii. Just want you to know that I'm thinking of one person in particular that I've connected with, and she knows who she is. Thinking about you, sending lots of love and prayers and protective energy as this tropical storm is headed your way. So what is going on? The reason for the lack of communication. The first is giving and receiving. This is an energy of being, what I'm getting from this is there's an energy of being out of balance. You might have given too much. You might have been the one that carried the weight of this relationship, that really you were maybe the pursuer. You might have been the one that was like actively going after this other person, and they felt a little bit, you know, sometimes people can feel a little bit intense when that energy is coming toward them that strong. And so it could be literally that they just, you know, they're not communicating right now because they just needed to take a step back and to not be in that space for a while. Not that they don't care about you, not that they don't have feelings for you, any of that. It's just literally what I'm getting is just they may be in a space where they just needed a little break. They just needed to take a little step back and not feel the intensity for at least a little bit. Then we've got Atlas. They're weighted down with responsibility right now. Atlas is, you know, the energy of carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. It's like they're not communicating because they don't literally have the strength. They're in this space of like, I'm like just trying, like literally the message is like, I'm just trying to get through every day. I'm just trying to deal with the stuff that I have on my plate right now in my life, and I just don't have the energy to reach out and connect right now. I just don't have it. Not because I don't want to, not because I don't think about you, not because I don't care. I just freaking don't have any energy to give. And we've got Pele. They're in the process of awakening. I have a special connection to the goddess Pele. I've mentioned this before. When I went out to the islands a couple years ago, I had a real meaningful spiritual connection and have just felt this bond with Pele all along. But Pele is this energy of really saying that there's a need for an awakening. It's like this person that's not communicating with you right now they're so weighted down with their responsibilities that they're blocking everything else, and they're not allowing themselves to have this awakening experience. It's like they really need to understand that that they're kind of sleepwalking through life, like the responsibilities, the things that they've taken on have kind of put them in a state of just being dull and unaware. Their senses are not sharp, and they're not quite awake. It's time for them to wake up, smell the coffee, see things as they truly are, to not be in this space where things are just kind of status quo. This message is literally saying, like, it's better to become it's better to step into your own creativity and to live from a space of that than to just be reactive to what's going on in your life, which is where they are right now. So what is the cause for their lack of communication? Detachment, natural order, and play. So they're in a space of detachment. It's like, I really get that because of this energy that they're in, this weighted down responsibility, not being awakened yet, that they're in the space of detachment. They feel like they needed to detach from you because perhaps the energy was too intense, it was overwhelming. Again, that's kind of the space that I feel like they were like, oh my gosh, this is too much. This is too intense. I don't know what to do with this. And so they just pulled away and detached because it seemed like the easier thing to do. But they're also saying, like, look, there is a natural order for things. Sometimes there are cycles, right? There's life and death and rebirth and so on and so forth. And so this isn't part of the natural order that's happening right now, is that part of the reason that they are not communicating, the underlying cause, is that this natural order is taking place. There's growth that needs to happen. There's transformation that needs to happen. This is about justice. There are things that need to come into balance. There could even be some karmic energies that are being balanced, and that's the underlying cause. That it could necessarily be that there is it's easy for me to say. There could be an energy of justice being served, that there was some kind of injustice that was playing out, and now it's coming into balance. And part of why they're not communicating with you is because that's what had to happen. There had to be that energy. And then we've got Bass Play. This is just beautiful. I love this card. So part of it is that, and I get that this energy is that they have lost their ability to play, okay? This is an energy of like, it's time to come back and to play. You're so weighted down with responsibilities. It's like people are taking so much ongoing responsibilities and feeling weighted down by all of the things that they have to do, family obligations, work obligations, etc., that they just don't have any time for play. And it's like, learn to play again. Seriously, this is fun. If life has just become like a series of drudgery and responsibilities and you don't know how to play anymore, then you're not living your best life. And so part of it is that they are learning, okay? They're needing to learn again how to play. They need to learn how to tap into that energy. They're just not there yet. And that's part of what's going on. Part of the natural order is they're learning this energy again. So how would they feel to communicate? Wow. So they feel like if they were to communicate, that it would still be this space of awaiting results, that it's not quite, it's like the seeds that have been planted, things have been put in the ground, but they're still awaiting results. They feel like even if they were to communicate, they don't feel like it's something that that there's a direction to go forward in yet, which is reflected here with the crossroads. This is an energy of like, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I choose freedom? Do I choose love? Do I choose this kind of energy of moving forward in my life and taking, what path do I choose? They're still in a crossroads, and they feel like even if they were to communicate, they're still at a crossroads. There's still not much that they can are what willing or ready. I was going to say willing and ready at the same time, so I was going to say ready. That they're not really ready to make that decision to go forward. And so if they were to come forward and have communication with you, it would just really bring up this feeling about the crossroads, that they need to make a decision, that they need to go forward. And this is like, they would feel like that there's umbilical cords, connections, things that need to be cut that they're not quite ready for. And so it feels like they would just feel like it would be a challenge. To come forward and to have a communication with you right now would be challenging. It feels like, the Sphinx is, in the mythology of the Sphinx, is you meet the Sphinx, and it's like, you have to, like, I think it was Oedipus that was questioned, that the Sphinx had to ask questions, and if you answered them wrong, then you couldn't get into the gates of wisdom, but if you answered right, then you can have access. So you see that in movies like, there's movies that have this kind of depiction that happens. But if they were to communicate with you, it would be challenging. They feel like there are challenges that they can't pass yet, that there are things that they just don't have the answers to. So they feel like you are guarding the gates, and which you may be. I mean, of course, it's like you certainly don't want to let people into your gates if they're not able to come to you with the correct, proper type of energy. And so they're feeling that for sure, that challenge, that you present a challenge to them that they're not ready for yet. They just don't feel like they have what it takes, and that's cool. To each their path, right? We all are where we are. There's no judgment in that, just acknowledgement that sometimes people just aren't ready. So what's holding them back? Interesting. So dedicated effort. They need to make an effort and they recognize it. So what's holding them back is that they recognize that they need to make an effort. They recognize that there are things that need to happen, and they just are not, they haven't done it yet. They haven't put in the effort quite yet that they should, because they're feeling weighted down with other stuff, right? It's like if you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders and somebody's like, well, all you have to do is meditate, and they're like, really, another freaking thing to do on my list? Like, okay, let's just keep adding straws to the camel's back until it breaks, right? So they're not putting in the effort, not right now, because they just don't feel like they have the space. Now, of course, that is an energy that they can shift. They can let things go, but they're just in this, it feels like it's kind of like a karmic cycle where they can get caught up in doing and doing and doing, and then it prevents them from being. I actually have a shirt that says that I bought a couple years ago. It's a yoga shirt that says less doing, more being. And I use it as a reminder because I can definitely go into that space of overdoing. So I'm familiar with that energy. And then they're in the energy, part of what's holding them back is harvest. There's some harvest that needs to happen. There are some things that they need. They're reaping and sowing. Again, is what I'm getting, is like they are reaping some of the stuff that they have sown in the past. It's hard. It's not a fun energy to be in. It's a difficult energy, but it's definitely something that is necessary. It's like we have to go through what we have to go through to get to where we need to get. And this is what they're in this space of harvest. They're reaping what they're sowing. Things are coming into balance. Part of what's holding them back is that they just need to finish this karmic cycle. Finish whatever they've sown in the past that they're reaping right now. That needs to happen. And when it's completed, then they may be able to feel more free to come back and have the more authentic engagement. And this Amaterasu, I think is how you say it, is this is the energy she gets. She's a story of, she goes into the cave because she gets depressed, and she's a sun goddess. And when she goes into the cave, all of Earth starts, without the sun, what happens, of course, there's like, there is no, without the sun, everything freezes, nothing lives. And so she has to be drawn out of the cave by Uzume, who is like the wild woman card. She's like the fool, the sacred fool, who she actually draws her out by doing dances literally where she like flashes her, Uzume flashes her breasts and her vagina at the other gods, and they're like so shocked by her brazenness and how body and just how now she's behaving, that they're all laughing and whatnot. And so she, Amaterasu, ends up coming out of the cave just because she wants to see what's going on. So what's holding them back? They're in a cave. They're in this cave. They've withdrawn. They're in their own internal cave. That's the hermit energy. They're not coming out. They're going to need something to get pique their curiosity for them to come forward. They're going to have that energy where they feel like they can come back to life, where they are no longer afraid to not, literally this is a card of like, can suggest depression. Somebody could be struggling with depression, and part of what's holding them back is that they're just not able to break through and come out of that energy. So what do they need in order to communicate? Wow. This is one of my favorite stories, by the way. I have a book in my vast library on Inanna, if you have a chance to read some of her stories. But what they would need in order to communicate is they need to recognize that this opportunity, they feel like they missed an opportunity. This is a card of having missed a chance. They feel like that the opportunity has been skipped. that they missed something. And it's like once they understand that they didn't miss that there is, the opportunity is still there, it's like you haven't closed the door completely, then they may feel like they can come back and communicate. But they need to get into this Aries energy. They need to step into the battle. Whatever they've been avoiding in this cave, right? They've been hiding in this cave, and like the cave is, might be safe, but it's also limiting. They need to really be willing to engage in this battle. This is not just a battle for this connection. It's a battle for their own sovereignty, for their own ability to be in their power, confidence. Like if you're always running away from the battle, you lose your sense of confidence. You don't feel like you're up for the task. You don't feel like you're ready for it. And so people that constantly, I'm not saying that you need to fight every bully on the playground, okay? But what I am saying is that there comes a time where sometimes you do need to you have that willingness to step into the battle, to step into the arena, and they're not quite in that space yet, but that's what they need. They need, in order to communicate, they need to be willing to get into the arena. They need to be willing to get into that gladiator energy, Spartacus, whatever, and face whatever it is that they need to face, which is, a lot of it is their shadow. This card is about embracing the shadow. And Anna goes, I think it's like 7 or 9 layers of the underworld that she descends to, and each layer she has to give up a part of herself in it. It's a very powerful myth if you have the opportunity to look into it. But what happens in it is that having faced her shadow, faced the dark side, is like brings a new level of wholeness. And that's what this, the person that you're watching for, what they need to do is they need to face their shadow. They need to deal with this shit once and for all so that they can, put it to rest. I'm not saying, I'm not one of those people that talks about like getting rid of your shadow. I feel like we need to learn to dance with our shadows. Our shadows are a very vital aspect of ourselves. But as long as we reject it and refuse to look at it, it keeps too much power over us, and then we're not able to move forward. So what do they feel that they are not sharing? Beautiful. So they feel this, again, this in the traditional tarot is the Justice card. So this is the second time that justice has shown up. It's like they are being served a karma sandwich right now is what I'm getting. It's like justice is being served. This is, and it may feel very, I'm not saying that in like a gloating kind of way. It's kind of funny because we've all reaped what we've sown. We've had, karma come and kick us in the ass because of the things that we've done. But this is a card of blossom. Things are, justice is being served, and as it happens, it allows people to blossom. As difficult as it may feel, as challenging as it may be to be in this energy of having this karma, justice, etc., it actually allows you to bloom. It allows you to come into your wholeness, into your fullness, because once you're free of all this stuff that's been keeping you down, that you feel like you need to hide and that you're kind of running from, then you're free to bloom, then you're free to blossom. It's actually a very beautiful energy. They're not aware of it yet, but that's what's happening. And it's like they're not sharing that with you yet, because it's like what they're dealing with, it feels very heavy, and so they're not quite ready to share that. But it's definitely, they're feeling this sense of, okay, so the weight of the past, the karma, the justice has been served, and now I feel like I can blossom again. Now I feel like I've been planted in solid ground. And now I feel like I am in a space where I can really bloom instead of being stuck where I've been. They're feeling inspired. This is their spiritual self. Okay, so it feels like in the 3D, in this physical reality, things are weighted down. They're dealing with a lot of stuff. In their spiritual self, it's like they're starting to blossom. They're starting to feel inspired. They're starting to feel themselves come back to life again, which is gorgeous. I love that. And then we've got the Nuqua, which is order. It's they're bringing in this energy of order, where it's like no more of being like led all over the way and just kind of like following, whichever way the wind blows, and they go this way, and then like the wind blows to east, they go that way. And it feels like there's been that kind of chaotic sort of energy that has been present for quite some time, and now they're starting to bring some order to their life. It's like they're starting to understand that the things that they maybe have done in the past, the energies that they've brought in the past, such, you know, being chaotic, not having order, not feeling like solid, not being the divine being that they're meant to be, like that's coming to a close. It's like they're starting to understand that there is a divine order to things, and that as divine beings that we have a certain sort of order that we thrive in. Even creative types, okay? I'm thinking about, I have a really good friend who's an artist, and that's what they do for work, and it's like the creative, very, you know, free spirited kind of energy, but that's still but there's still an order to things. There's still routine. There's still certain ways in which things are done. And so this is a person, what I'm getting is that they're kind of stepping up into their maturity and their reliability, and bringing a sense of order to their life, where it's no longer this chaos, no longer just kind of this, that, and the other, but literally being in a space of creating order and power in their lives. So it's very, very beautiful, and it feels like there's some maturity that's happening, okay? So a lot of maturity. So I feel led to pull one final message from the Earth Warrior Oracle. So I'm just going to pull one message, a final message from Spirit for this, for the Watcher. Wow. Lena, what must be, shall be. What is that song? Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. So this is saying, look, have faith. Some things, I'll read a little bit of this, but again, this is Lana Fairchild, and her stuff is really, really long. So have faith. Sometimes things happen that seem to be working against us. It's only later that they show themselves to have been valuable, but ways by which we acquired the greater faith, courage, and determination that was necessary to the fulfillment of our purpose. Know that your destiny is unfolding, and that you are moving through circumstances that are ultimately going to help you become your soul in fullness and splendor. Keep going. Everything happening in your life is helping to fulfill your divine potential. Know that any darkness will give way to the light. So that is the final message for Spirit, from Spirit. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I will not be really accessible just for the next few days, just because I'll be really starting Friday through Sunday. I'll be a little bit more limited. I'll be around a bit tomorrow. But if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to comment, share, like. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.